मुस्कुराती रहो माँ हृदय में सदा, गीत तेरा जगत को सुनाता रहूं। मुस्कुराती रहो माँ हृदय में सदा, गीत तेरा जगत को सुनाता रहूं। दिव्य भावों की पुष्पों को अर्पित करूं, नित्य भावों की पुष्पों को अर्पित करूं। दर्श पलकों में तेरा ही पाता रहूं, दर्श पलकों में तेरा ही पाता रहूं। मुस्कुराती रहो माँ हृदय में सदा, गीत तेरा जगत को सुनाता रहूं। तेरी नैनों से जागी निहारो मेरी, तेरी नैनों से जागी निहारो मेरी। चूम लूं ये चरण तेरे पावन सदा, चूम लूं ये चरण तेरे पावन सदा। मेरे सर पे तेरे हो वरद हस्त माँ, मेरे सर पे तेरे हो वरद हस्त माँ। मेरे तन मन में ममता का सावन सदा, मेरे तन मन में ममता का सावन सदा। मुस्कुराती रहो माँ हृदय में सदा, गीत तेरा जगत को सुनाता रहूं। चाहे कितनी भी बाधाएं आती रहे, चाहे कितनी भी बाधाएं आती रहे, चाहे कितनी भी बाधाएं आती रहे। दीप बन के तूफानों में जलता रहूं, दीप बन के तूफानों में जलता रहूं। चाहे दुर्गम पुरानी सदा ही यहाँ, चाहे दुर्गम पुरानी सदा ही यहाँ। ऊंच शिखरों पे हरदम ही चढ़ता रहूं, ऊंच शिखरों पे हरदम ही चढ़ता रहूं। मुस्कुराती रहो माँ हृदय में सदा, गीत तेरा जगत को सुनाता रहूं। ऐसी कर दो कृपा माँ मधुर तू मेरी, ऐसी कर दो कृपा माँ मधुर तू मेरी। प्राण की रागिणी गुनगुनाने लगे, प्राण की रागिणी गुनगुनाने लगे। मेरे शिष्यता की कलियां ये खिलती रहे, मेरे शिष्यता की कलियां ये खिलती रहे। जिंदगी की ये आभा लुटाने लगे, जिंदगी की ये आभा लुटाने लगे। मुस्कुराती रहो माँ हृदय में सदा, गीत तेरा जगत को सुनाता रहूं। माँ माँ सुनाता रहूं। Mother and Sri Aurobindo and the children of the mother, my pranam to all. the questions I have received. The first question is, Mother says, keep your consciousness so high and so pure that nothing will be able to touch you any longer. How can we define the two words, high and pure? Mother was asked about this question. Mother said that we are living in the ordinary consciousness, which is unselfish, which is selfish and egocentric. So that is the lower form of consciousness. Then we rise to the consciousness which is unselfish and egoless. So that is the higher consciousness. And again, there is another ladder. We go beyond this unselfish and egoless consciousness to the divine consciousness. In the divine consciousness also there are so many ladders. Our soul carries these three: high, pure and great. So once we are identified with our soul, these three possibilities are open for us. So let us discuss about how we can go beyond our ego and selfishness. When we are aware of our soul within, it changes our consciousness. It is the best method generally we practice. So we should practice every day for some time to go within and try to communicate with our soul. The soul should come in contact with our external being, that is mind, vital and body. So it has the power to change our ordinary consciousness to unselfish and unegoistic consciousness. This practice you can do. At the same time, in our day-to-day life, we should practice less and less selfish and less egoistic. So in that way, we can rise to the consciousness, that higher divine consciousness. The moment we reach the higher consciousness, we will experience peace, power, light, knowledge, freedom, equality, unity. These will become the natural. So, from other side also we can try to experience the peace, then we will rise to the higher consciousness. Try to feel that Mother's power is working with us and we are not the incapable person. In every action we feel that we are unable to face the situation. But when we feel the power of Mother within us, then we can easily face the situations. In that way, our consciousness will also rise. Similarly, knowledge, light, these all things we will practice. Knowledge means the external knowledge is deceptive. Inner knowledge, it will give the indications what to do and what not to do. So that also will come with the concentration. In this way, we will rise our consciousness. So, this is how we understand the higher consciousness. And higher consciousness is of different dimension. Whatever you are seeing and you are having the ideas about the world, these all will change the moment you rise your consciousness. You will look to the person in different way. Suppose previously you were saying that this person is bad, this person is getting angry. The moment your consciousness is changed, you will see that person is not responsible. The forces are using that person. So you have different perspective about the life. The more you rise, more the vision will change. Similarly, when there is another aspect of our life, that is purification of our consciousness. What does it mean? Purification means, again, our ordinary consciousness. We have so many natures. They are to be replaced. Actually, it is not a replacement, because every lower nature has a corresponding higher nature. That is only deformed. What we call lower is nothing but the higher consciousness deformed. So purity means, again, the higher aspects of that nature will replace the lower thing. Mother and Sri Aurobindo have given so many examples. I will give some examples. The vital emotions will be replaced by psychic feelings. Then it can be called as purity of our consciousness. The moment our vital emotions are replaced by the psychic feeling, then we can say that our consciousness is made pure. Similarly, tamas is replaced by the inner divine rest or peace. They are the higher equivalent of the same nature. So the moment it is replaced, then we can call that our consciousness is made pure. Self-love is replaced by the divine love. Self-love means I am loving myself, and based on that I am looking everybody. If that person is loving me, okay, otherwise I can also become the enemy of him. Everything I look from my point of view. That is replaced with the divine love. Divine love means the love, there is no reason and season. It love because simply it is made up with that. It can love to enemies also, because it sees the divine within everybody, whoever he may be. So if we can replace self-love by the divine love, that is also purification. Then ordinary will is replaced by the divine will. Our will, we generally impose our will to the divine, that try to fulfill my will so that I will give you so much. So that will change. When I will approach the divine, I will tell, what is your will? I want to fulfill your will. So if you sincerely practice, the ordinary will, that will be replaced by the divine will. Similarly, doubt is replaced by the certitude. That means whatever is happening, now corona is happening, whatever, we have the certitude that mother is looking after it. And no power is greater than the mother. So ultimately whatever will happen, it will happen according to the mother's will. That certitude, sense of certitude, is with us because we have faith on the mother. So doubts will replace. It will be replaced by the certitude, sense of inner certitude. Somebody will ask how? We don't know how, but we believe. Certitude. That certitude comes from the faith. Faith is nothing but the inner certitude. So disorder is replaced by the harmony. The moment, wherever you are present, the disturbing attitude will change with your presence. That means you are carrying the force of harmony. Some people are there, the moment they enter in somewhere, the disturbance starts. Because they carry the disturbance within them. So the force of harmony is also with the mother. The moment we feel the presence of the mother, we will carry the force of harmony. So that disorder is replaced by the harmony. Egoism is replaced by the self-giving. The more you give to the mother, whatever you are, whatever you do, everything, the ego will be replaced. This is the best way how to replace the ego. Suffering is replaced by the immutable happiness. So actually there is no suffering. There is only happiness, immutable happiness, or we call Ananda. We are unable to tolerate Ananda, that is translating into our consciousness as suffering. The Ananda which we cannot tolerate, that is translated into our consciousness as pain or suffering. So the moment we are capable, then the suffering will be replaced by the immutable happiness. Similarly, anxiety is replaced by the serenity. Desire is replaced by the self-existent bliss. You see, whatever lower qualities are there, they are not by itself bad. They are only deferred. They are to be transformed, that's all. They are to be replaced. That is called purity. Then another thing is, very important thing, sincerity in place of unwillingness to live for the divine. That means insincerity is nothing but our unwillingness to live for the divine. The moment there is a willingness to serve the divine, to live for the divine, that is called sincerity. So unwillingness to live for the divine will be replaced by the sincerity. These are the examples of purity of our consciousness. Second question, Sri Aurobindo has written, the recovery of old spiritual knowledge and experience in all its splendor, depth and fullness is its first and most essential work. The flowing of this spirituality into new forms of philosophy, literature, art, science and critical knowledge is the second. And original dealing with modern problems in the light of the Indian spirit and the endeavor to formulate a greater synthesis of spiritualized society is the third and most difficult. Its success on these three lines will measure of its help to the future of humanity. Based on the above passage, my questions are, what is our current stage? Have we reached the final stage or lingering in the first or second stage? What is the role of study circle in this regard? The question is that Sri Aurobindo said that there are three types of work we have to do. One is recovery of our past spiritual knowledge. We have to recover. Second is that knowledge we have to apply in new forms through philosophy, literature, art, science and critical knowledge. We have to express those knowledge, past spiritual knowledge. We have to recover it first, then we have to express those knowledge through philosophy, literature, art, science and critical knowledge. That is the second. Third one is facing the modern problem with that spiritual knowledge. These are the three work we have to do. What Sri Aurobindo has said. The question is, what is our current stage? Have we reached the final stage or lingering in the first or second stage? What is the role of study circle in this regard? Our current stage is a transitory stage. We have touched all these three stages simultaneously, not one after another. Three things are going on simultaneously. But one thing, a great change happened after 1956. So what Sri Aurobindo says, these three type of work, we need not do. What happened in 1956? The supramental manifestation happened. After that, it took the responsibility. These three works. First is recovery of spiritual knowledge. Second is application through philosophy, science, art, etc. Third is facing the modern problems with that ancient knowledge. This responsibility is taken over by the supramental force. What is the role then we were doing before 1956? After that, supramental force took its responsibility. Just like if a person, if few people in the village, they are constructing a bridge, wooden bridge, collecting funds from different villages and trying to construct a bridge. But one person told them that Prime Minister is my friend and I can get that work done through Prime Minister. Now what these people will do? The collected money, will they construct the wooden bridge, or they will give that person, go to Delhi and make that possible. So the work is totally changed. Now he will go to Prime Minister and get the sanction, a beautiful bridge, complete bridge over there. It is exactly the same thing now happening. We were doing according to our capacity because the supramental was not manifested. Now supramental has come directly from the Supreme with full power. It is telling that I will do what you will say. No, you don't do, we will do it according to our capacity. No. We will be grateful to it and we will become his instrument, its instrument. It will say that you go there and bring that paper, you go and bring that something, I will prepare the necessary things and I will go to the Prime Minister. So whole work structure is changed. Similarly, Mother says that now our duty is to listen supramental force. How to listen supramental force? There is an easy method because Mother and Sri Aurobindo are embodiment of supramental force. So whatever Mother and Sri Aurobindo says, you have to surrender. So our total way of action is changed from 1956 onwards. That is the role of Pathchakra. Study circle is nothing but how to prepare ourselves to become the perfect instrument of the Mother and Sri Aurobindo. Means the instrument of the supramental force. That is what a great change happened once Sri Aurobindo was asked before supramental manifestation, and Sri Aurobindo said, once we shall bring down a new principle which will help to raise the humanity. And Nirod Baran asked, won't the descent of the supermind make the things easier for us? Sri Aurobindo said, it will do so for those who receive the supermind, who are open to it. This is our work. So supermind will the work very easily. For it is not difficult. And what is our duty? Simply, Sri Aurobindo says that those who receive the supermind and open to it. Supramental action will turn their will consciously or unconsciously on their part towards the way in which the Divine's will wants them to go. Supermind can act directly on everything if it is brought down into the material consciousness. It can act directly on everything. And Mother said after descent. Sri Aurobindo said before descent. And Mother said after descent. The question was asked, has the process of sadhana undergone a change with the creation of the new world, a new world conditions by the supramental manifestation? Mother said, yes, the sadhana has undergone a great change. The supramental action leaps over the mind. Now, we need not depend on mind. Mind will do in its own way, with speculations and so many things, so many steps and procedures. They are no more required. From the center of will straight to matter, directly it can act on the matter. Beginning of the supramental action directly in the body. It has such a force, such a power. I had never felt that kind of intensity in the material world. So, these three actions, what Sri Aurobindo has said, is not our work now. It is the work of supramental force, and our work is to open more and more to the supramental consciousness. Or easily you can say, to the Mother and Sri Aurobindo. Another question is, why the Mother and Sri Aurobindo had not transformed their own body? Especially after Golden Day, 1956, when Mother declared a new light breaks upon the earth, a new world is born, the things that were promised are fulfilled. Now, they both are working for the transformation of the earth from subtle physical plane, which is very nearer to the earth atmosphere. But the same work could have been continued with transformed supramental body also. Then most people would have accepted this path very easily, having life example in front of them. I know that what the Lord willed must have the greater reason. Still, I wish to understand the reasons behind their decision. Why Mother and Sri Aurobindo have left their body? That was the question. About Sri Aurobindo, Mother has said, the world was not ready to bear the increasing action of the supramental force working through Sri Aurobindo's physical body. The more and more supramental force started to act in Sri Aurobindo's body, the world was unable to tolerate. That is why he left his physical body purposely and continued his transformation work through his subtle physical body. This is the reason. Because the moment the force, higher force increased, the supramental force increased its action in Sri Aurobindo's body, Sri Aurobindo says, a Mother says, the whole terrestrial evolution had come to halt. The entire terrestrial evolution was at a standstill. It could not act. It could not tolerate. So that is why Sri Aurobindo took a decision to change the work from physical matter, from physical body to the subtle physical body. That was the decision. Now let us come The second, why the mother has left her body. Why she has not created a glorious body. Because Sri Aurobindo said once that not a crucified body, but a glorified body will save the earth. And that possibility was there. Then why it was not done? Mother herself answered that why I am not making my body as in this glorious body. Why that? The reason, what is the reason? Mother said, people do not want this radiant and illumined body of the mother says that people don't want. You don't want means simply saying no, I want not like that. By their living, the way they are living, that is what mother says. It will turn because once I will have this radiant and illumined body or glorious body, what will happen? It will turn the whole world upside down. What will happen? Just like Corona is just a highlight. Ups and down. They are afraid of what they will lose. All their so-called happiness, riches, their way of living, their pleasures, their pettiness, and their ignorance, they still cling to them, and which have become so familiar to them that they are afraid to lose all this. That is why they do not want this stranger. This stranger means this body, that is illumined body, that is mother says, this stranger of truth to organize all their lives. Sadhak said, but mother, we want it. We want to see this radiant and illumined body, this transformed body. Mother said that is there one person who can say that he has no ego, that he is entirely for the divine, completely surrendered and without reserve? Is there one? Mother herself is saying. Otherwise you could have said, no, I am the one person. Mother said, not yet. I wait. That was the reason. Huh? No, not yet. I wait.
Wait.
But simply she had to wait, but we were not ready. We are till now we are not ready. So the reason for both cases, about Sri Aurobindo and about mother, we are responsible. Even few persons, pure gold, Sri Aurobindo was asking, I need 100 pure golds. That was also not possible. That was the reason why mother and Sri Aurobindo left their body. Another question is, what is ignorance? Why it is there in the creation? Is there any purpose behind it? If everything in this cosmos is within the Supreme, then ignorance should be within the Supreme. How and when the ignorance will disappear from the creation? Generally, we think that ignorance is the opposite of knowledge. No. Nothing is opposite to anything. Ignorance is not the opposite of knowledge. When the knowledge limits itself for the organization of partial truths, we call it as ignorance. For example, film hall has many doors. Once film starts, it closes all the doors except one door. Similarly, knowledge wants to focus on a particular thing, to know in detail, to become a specialist. What it will do? It will close all doors. That is ignorance. It is closing all the doors. That we call ignorance. It is actually not opposite of knowledge. It is the power of knowledge. That it is using itself for a particular purpose. Suppose I have many qualities. I know singing, I know dancing, I can say something, I can do something. Suppose so many things. I am also working in the office. When I go to the office, will I open all my possibilities there, or will I close all my possibilities except the possibility which is required for the functioning of office responsibility? Is it not? We know many things. Suppose I am telling now about Mother and Sri Aurobindo. I am concentrating on this only. All the possibilities are closed. So knowledge, when it exclusively concentrates on a particular thing, that is called ignorance. That is, Sri Aurobindo has said, the principle of exclusive concentration. Principle of exclusive concentration. The purpose of ignorance is to experience the infinite manifestation infinitely by separating each other. That is the purpose of ignorance. Suppose I want to experience, I want to know about the laws. I become the advocate. I will not sit in the meeting of scientists. I will do exclusive research on the law matter. Similarly, scientists will not come and sit with the advocates. So these all aspects, infinite aspects are there. Ignorance, the purpose of ignorance is to experience infinite manifestation, infinitely, by separating each other, not combinedly, by separating each other. All are not combined, all are experienced separately. That is called, that is the function of ignorance that was necessary for the creation. But it is not the permanent function of creation. It is a transitory function, that's all. Because ignorance is not existing within the Supreme. Knowledge is existing. Whatever is existing in the Supreme, that will exist forever. Knowledge is existing, it will exist forever. Delight is existing, delight will exist forever. Truth is existing, truth will exist forever. Then what is ignorance? Ignorance is a mask of knowledge. It is not existing in the Supreme. Suppose, when I was in the womb of my mother, I was naked, my dress was not there. The moment I came out from my womb, I wear this dress. Similarly, the knowledge is within the Supreme, womb of the Supreme, that came out and wear the dress of ignorance. It is not the truth, original truth, that is absolute truth. It is not the absolute truth. It is the transitory truth which is required for a particular experiment. The moment the experiment is over, the ignorance will disappear. That mother was asked when? Mother said after supramental manifestation. How? I will make you understand through simple example. Suppose there is a candle here, or a light is focusing me. Backside, what is there? My shadow. If light is here, then there must be shadow behind. If this light is there, then there must be a shadow behind. Okay. From all angles there will be light. Will shadow exist? That is supramental consciousness. Till now the ignorance is existing because we have one light, two light or 100 light, whatever it is. But it is not the totality. Supramental consciousness is called the consciousness of the Supreme in totality. Mother has defined. Supramental consciousness, what it is? The consciousness of the Supreme in totality. Not overmind, nothing. In the past, whatever divine consciousness came, they were some number. Suppose Sri Rama with 12 number, 12 kala we are telling. Kala. And 12 powers. Similarly, Sri Krishna was 16 power, but not totality. So there must be some shadow, because that has 12 shadows and Sri Krishna lights, since they are 16, therefore 16 shadows backside. But in case of supramental force, consciousness, there cannot be any shadow, because from every angle point, from all point of view, not only from outside, from within also, from everywhere, it is filled with the light. So there is no question of shadow. So ignorance will end only in the supramental age, because the consciousness of the totality is manifesting. Till that, there will be ignorance, and the need of ignorance is to experiment different transitory truths or limited truths exclusively. That is the purpose of ignorance. Another question is, how can we get rid of the habit of postponement? As the mother has said, how can we get rid of the habit of postponement? As the mother has said that the path of letter on leads nowhere. Even though we understand this, what is it that resists us from being punctual? Why we are postponing every work? Why unnecessarily we are delaying every work? Why you are not punctual in everything? That is the question. There are mainly three reasons. One is tamas and laziness. Second is priority. Third is waiting for the divine. There are three causes why we postpone the things. Tamas is because tamas is nothing but our body, the incapacity of the body. That is called tamas, physical body. It has nothing to do with mental and vital. There are tamas in mental and vital, but mother says it mainly belongs to the physical. So when physical is incapable to do, it delays the work or postpone the thing. I will do tomorrow, I am not feeling well. Okay. That is one reason. It is a valid reason. So that is the mother said that in case of tamas, you should train your body, you should make your body healthy and simply do your work, not pressurize the body to do it. Okay, that is the valid reason why it is not doing that work. But as far as laziness is concerned, mother is saying that it is unwillingness. You are capable. It is unwillingness and ill will. These two are in the laziness. If I am lazy means there are two things. One is I am unwilling to do, at the same time there is a ill will behind it. That is laziness. So mother has given beautiful solution for it. If you don't want to do a small work, give him the big work. So it will say that no, I will do the small work. Don't give me the big one. That is the mother gave the example, because it wants to cheat us, no? That is why if it denies that I will not do this, okay, you say okay, you don't do this, but do this work, a big work. then ultimately he will select the first one. No, I will do this. Otherwise, he will do that and he will learn that this small work is easier than that. So, in case of laziness, there is no concession. Third is the second point is priority. Priority means there are 4 stages in the priority. If you are living in the body level, we generally give the priority to our habits. We don't give importance to the divine work. We are very much interested to continue our habits, whatever habit I have. If I have this smoking habit, I will do that first. Path chakra or study circle, okay, that means. So, whatever habit I have to complete. If I am living in the body level, so I give the priority to my habits. That is why I delay the real work. If we are living in the vital level, we are giving priorities to our desires and ambitions. They are our priorities. Suppose somebody will come and tell you that I will make you a minister in the Modi government. So you will immediately run from here. Because my desire and ambition is a priority for me. So, third point, if we are living in the mental level, then we give the priorities to our ideas, ethics, etc. Ideas, ethics, they are very much important than the divine work. For example, about the elder brother of Dharmaraj, Yudhishthira. Shri Krishna was telling him to do something, but he was looking to the Shastras, saying that whatever you are saying is not found in my Shastra. So if you are living in the mental level, our ideas and ethics will become more important than the divine work. So in that way we are delaying. But fourth one, if we are living in the psychic level, we give the important priorities to our inspiration. There the question of delay will not arise. Fourth point. When we are living in the psychic level, we give the priority to our inspiration. Inspiration is the first priority. Then the last point is waiting for the divine. That is it is for the high cadre of sadhakas. Those who already have reached the psychic level, still they delay the work. Why? Because they want to know whether the divine wants that work to be done by me or somebody else. They want to know. Because divine sometimes he wants to do the work directly without using any instrument. That is one way of his doing. At that time I cannot interfere and say that I am your instrument, I will do. No. I have to remain calm. I should not do that work. What the divine himself wants to do directly. Second is that divine wants to do that work through other person, not through me. Then why should I interfere? No, I will do. No. There also I will wait for his instruction. When he will tell, I am waiting and I will do. Third is that he might leave the work to follow its natural course. Neither he will do, nor is done by other, but the divine wants that should happen in its natural way, natural course, because that experience is needed for him through karma phala. In that case also, I will not interfere. Only a case where I interfere, I will do that work. That is when he specifically says to me, just like Sri Krishna told Arjuna, go and fight. The rishis from the forest did not come and fight with the Kauravas. No, we will also do because it is divine work. No. There is no competition in the divine work. You have to wait for the instruction whether the divine wants you to do or not. So this third is very important, because once we are the instrument of the divine, we should not be eager to do his work. We have to patiently wait for his instruction, whether he wants or not. Another question, we are unable to empty our head. The situations around us are very, very much disturbing. Under this condition, how can we do meditation successfully? Fortunately, those who have come to Mother and Sri Aurobindo, they have so many alternatives. Emptying our head is not a must in meditation, in our yoga. In other yoga it may be necessary, compulsory, but in our yoga one can do, but it is not compulsory. Contemplation on or about the divine is a meditation. If you can concentrate on the divine, about his work also, about his work if you concentrate, that is also meditation. About the divine, on divine or about the divine is also a meditation. Remembering the mother in calm sitting posture can also be called meditation. Simply sitting and remembering mother, that is also meditation. Reading the writings of Mother and Sri Aurobindo will push us into meditation. If you read sincerely Mother and Sri Aurobindo book, that will also lead to meditation. There are many sadhakas who don't do meditation at all. Yet they get all the benefits of meditation simply doing the mother's work sincerely. So these all possibilities are there. You need not worry that this is not happening. Okay, you try. You need not worry. It does not mean that you should be lazy. Many people say, oh, there are so many alternatives, why I should do? He should try at his level best. But he is not, there are so many alternatives also you can try. Whatever the best he can do. There are so many alternatives Mother and Sri Aurobindo given for the meditation. Then another question is, Sri Aurobindo left Bengal for Pondicherry in accordance with the instructions of his inner voice. Was this inner voice the voice of the psychic being? Did the Vedic slokas revealed to the rishis came from the psychic being? Yes, Sri Aurobindo's message came from the psychic being because it was inner voice, and Sri Aurobindo said that inner voice which is not psychic cannot be completely true. So there can be inner voices which will misguide you. So only the psychic inner voice is correct. Since Sri Aurobindo received inner voice, then it must be the psychic inner voice. There is no doubt in it. About inner voices, about the voices received by the Vedic rishis, Sri Aurobindo said both. One is from psychic experience, another is spiritual, from above. The both happened to the rishis. But as far as Sri Aurobindo concerned, Sri Aurobindo since mentioned particularly that I have received inner voice, that means it must be a psychic inner voice, because Sri Aurobindo says that the inner voice, inner psychic voice is only reliable. No other inner voices. They can misguide also. Another question is it true that without attaining the realization of psychic being, we won't be able to participate in the transformation of matter in the true sense? Or is there anything that can be done as a preparation for the transformation work? No, without realization of psychic, transformation work is not possible. There are so many reasons Mother has given. The first is that transformation work is a permanent work. And in our being, there is only one being that is permanent. That is psychic. And through psychic only, if mind is psychicized, then only it will become permanent. If vital is psychicized, then only it will become permanent. So permanent element is only the psychic. So through psychic only the transformation is possible. And you have seen, you must have read that there are 3 steps of transformation. First step of transformation is psychic transformation. Second is spiritual. Third is supramental. So without psychic it is not possible. There are so many points I will not discuss because we have reached to the time. Will you close and ask
one question?
Another question is, in the book Evening Talk, Sri Aurobindo says, you have to make choice. The individual is absolutely free in this yoga. If you make the wrong choice, I cannot protect you. The question is, how can we make right choice and how can we know that our choice is right or not? Mother has answered that the things happen unexpectedly in our life. That is why we must have the awakened consciousness which never goes back to the inconscient. Very important point Mother said. We must have the awakened consciousness because things happen suddenly. Okay. Mind cannot take decision because mental consciousness is a post-mortem consciousness. If the thing happened, thereafter it will make research. It cannot do the work of awakened consciousness. Awakened consciousness, what it will do? And that awakened consciousness is not that you are awakened for a particular time. Because when you are sleeping at that time, something may happen, you cannot be able to take a right decision. Awakened consciousness which will never go back to the inconscient. That is the definition Mother has given. So what will happen? The moment something happens, it will simply call the divine, which it will not decide. It will simply call the divine, give me the guidance what I should do. And that will be the right action. But it is after a lot of sadhana, it is possible. Before that, Mother has given some solutions. One is an unshakable faith, which is not shaken by the outward circumstances. It will give you right indication. Though you don't know how, but it will give the right indication. That is the first point. Second point is, if you can surrender to the divine, if you do all work for the divine sake, then you will be able to do right thing in right way automatically before having the knowledge. That is also very important. If you surrender and you are willing to do the divine work always, then also you will get the right indication without knowledge. Knowledge will not be given to you. But whatever indication will be given, that is the right. You will know afterwards. The third point is, this second point, Mother has given very beautiful message saying that if you ask the trouble to go within yourself a little and ask the indicating heart, Mother, is this what you want for me? Tell me, Mother, what shall I do? Guide me. Ask me, there where I reside in you, within there, the heart. If you truly ask me, you shall always have the answer. So always you can, with surrender attitude, you just simply sit in front of photo and you can ask, Mother, do you want this or that? If you are very sincere, you will get the answer. But Mother says that it will also take time to get that answer immediately. You must have the patience in this practice also. This is the last one I am discussing. So anybody can ask any question.
Okay, so there are a couple of 2-3 questions I have got from YouTube. So I'll just read it one question first. It has come from Vizag. Mother said, physical education is important to prepare the body for divine work and transformation. Accordingly, but as of now, till we have not attained transformation, according to nature's law, we have to leave this body and take birth in a new body. So then what happens to the effort given for this body? Do we have to start all over again, or does the soul know where to start from?
Yes, to some extent, we will lose something as long as we cannot continue in the same body, or we get the technique to transfer our physical achievements to the another body. Till that there will be some loss. Suprema asked about this, and your mother said that as long as we have to leave our body and again take another body, the achievements attained in the physical level, we have to lose something. The body will get the capacity to extend its life more than 300 years. So within these 300 years, it can work out for the transformation. This is one possibility. There is another possibility that suppose my body is not so perfect, but I am doing my sadhana perfectly. But another person who has a fittest body for the transformation, but he has not the sadhana. He has not done sadhana. So these actions also, there is a possibility. There is a possibility that can be done. Another thing is that I can create my own body within myself. Self-creation. I can create my own body within myself, and I shift my all experiences to the new body. There are so many possibilities are there. Now we have to concentrate in the mother and doing everything without thinking much about it, because what will happen, it will be indicated by the mother in future.
Yeah, so you have spoken about that crucified body. So could you please give some example?
Crucified body means till now, those avatars who have came here, they have left their body. Specifically, Sri Aurobindo referred to Christ because it was crucified. Okay, so crucified body will not save the earth. A glorified body will save the earth, and that possibility was with the mother and Sri Aurobindo. But somehow we have lost that some extent. That is why we have not lost much. If they would have left like Christ or some other avatars beyond the physical, then this whole achievement would have been lost. Now because they are in the subtle physical, they have not lost their achievements. That is why there is no great loss. But there is still some losses.
So one more question is, how integral education will construct our daily life from ignorance to knowledge?
Integral knowledge, there is everything in it. How we are practicing, that is the very important thing. Suppose we are reading science. We should not simply read and reproduce the things in our examination. The science must be a door to enter into the new dimensions. All the subjects. If we use that as a means for entering into the new dimensions, then integral education will help. But till now we are not doing that. We are simply writing, it is the Sri Aurobindo Integral Education Center, but reproducing what others are doing. Only difference is that we are surrendering to the mother and doing our work. They are not surrendering their mother and doing. That is the difference. But actually, all subjects, whatever you are dealing, they are the opportunities to enter into the deep. Even children, even the students' mother said, they are the opportunity for your sadhana. It is not that you are giving teaching to them, through them you are doing your sadhana. So in this spirit, if you can use integral education, then it will really prepare you for the transformation.
So, from Pune, TFA. So, when we are leading our ordinary day-to-day life, we come across many extreme situations. Some seem to us extraordinarily good and perfect, where we get very happy and excited. Whereas on the other hand, we also come across situations which make us feel very sad and miserable. So, how do we control our emotions consciously and practice maintaining the inner smile within us at every moment?
That is possible only when you have a strong belief that behind the events, whatever is happening, behind the events, there is a great purpose which Mother is regulating. It may be good for us, it may be bad for us. They are only the apparent sceneries. But behind the every happening, suppose Corona, behind the Corona, there is a great message of transformation. We are unable to understand. We have to believe it.
Okay, so only in integral yoga we have a beautiful scope of collective yoga. Together we stand, divided or separated we fall. Still, why there are so many differences among us, even while we proceed for a noble work? How to deal with this?
Now, the differences will be there. That is the beauty of creation. There are so many flowers. We cannot make every flower as a rose flower, since they are fighting. So there is a harmony. If you can create a harmony among infinite flowers, then it will be more beautiful than the single flower. You take the example of orchestra party. A harmonium, he is playing harmonium nicely, and I am playing some other instrument nicely, and you are singing some song very nicely, individually. That is okay. But when we get together, so initially there will be a disturbance, because I want to show my quality and you want to show your quality. But one day it will come, we will not be interested to expose ourselves. We want the performance should be best. Then there will be a question of harmony. The same thing will happen to us. Initially, we want that my point of view should be accepted by the all. And you want that your point should be accepted by the all. This is ego point of views. But a time will come when we will feel that these are meaningless. Ultimately, harmony will exist. That is very important.
Okay, so what is our basic duty to the divine? How to know what the divine wants of us?
That is what you have to ask always to him, instead of asking other persons what to do and what not to do. Instead of depending other persons, you have to ask, just like your intimate friend. You stand in front of photo and ask, what you want, I want to do that. If you are sincere, and if some information is coming through your heart, you should follow it. If you don't follow, then it will cut. Suppose you are in the office, you have asked the divine, and at the time some person has come with so much of money, want to give you bribe as a bribe. The mother is saying through your heart that don't accept. And from practical point of view, you should accept. Otherwise, how will manage your life? Is it not? So you don't listen to mother. What will happen afterwards? The mother will not tell you what mother is telling you. Then again you have to re-surrender. Again you have to make yourself prepare again for the same work. So once you receive the message from the mother, at any cost you have to follow. Then what will happen? The concrete message will, the message will become more and more clear and concrete.
Yeah, so is there a way to know how matter can be prepared to receive supramental?
Matter is ready always. It is only the mind and vital is interfering in the business of matter. So mother says that when mind will remain calm and vital will be free from the preferences and ambitions and desires, the supramental will directly act on the matter. So when you are eating food, are you eating the food because of body's necessity or vital desire? What you are doing? Because of vital desire we are doing. So we are not giving any freedom to the body. Otherwise body has a greater knowledge than us. Now the antibodies are created by the body. We don't know. Our mind only doing some permutation and combination. But how it is done, body knows, we don't know. Body has a greater knowledge than mind and vital. But it is not allowing. It is imposing its own theories and own desires always on the body. If body is left by itself, since already the supramental force is there will be a perfect union. The psychic is there. Psychic and body has a good friendship. So psychic and body united together will get the inspiration or will become the perfect instrument of the supramental of the transformation.
So you told about psychicization. So is there any methods of that?
Yes, there is also it is a big subject how to psychicize body, how to psychicize from body, not physical consciousness, vital consciousness, mental consciousness. There are a big subject.
What is the source of inspiration? How can we know that from where it is coming? So what is the true source of inspiration?
You must be free from desires, preferences, preconceived ideas. Then only you will recognize. Otherwise, you will think that your preferences, your preconceived ideas are the will of the divine, or the inspirations coming directly from the divine. So unless and until you make yourself pure, even the inspiration is coming, you will not know.
So one more. So I have a thirst to do mother's work, but at times it so happens that various other tensions get clouded in the mind and they act as a veil between my zeal for doing the work and the thoughts of the ordinary life. So what should I do so that the moment I get the thirst I should act immediately, transform it into action? So how to keep this thirst for work always alive?
It is not possible. First of all, you have to practice stepping back. If a thought is coming, you should not act directly since that thought is coming. You have to step back. Take to your inner silence zone. Then if a desire is coming or ambition is coming, simply don't act, give it a form. Take it to your inner zone. Any action, don't immediately do. Take it to your inner zone. This practice will only help you. Otherwise, you will be a puppet in the hand of circumstances.
So I think we had one more. So one more. So Mother has mentioned before, there will be no war and no massacre in the world after supramental manifestation. Then why this COVID-19?
COVID-19 is before process.
No, yeah. So it was mentioned that no war will happen after supramental manifestation.
No.
So why this COVID-19 situation and lots of people are dying?
COVID-19 situation will happen. Sri Aurobindo and Mother said in the 1919 itself. She said that these types of things will repeat till the humanity in collective form is not purified. Now people are naming it as a world war. But before that also there was a huge scale that happened, but nobody told it as a world war. No. At that time there was no TV and no social channels, media, social media. Otherwise, Mother said that completely villages were extinguished because of these epidemics, but nobody knew. Now, if somebody is dying, everybody knows. So we are giving it a big shape. Otherwise, it is not a world war. Okay, it is only a requirement to purify the humanity at the collective level.
One more private questions I got.
Or previously official question.
So so what is the difference between sleep and trance? And when we go, when we during our sleep, somebody else also can see us in their dream. So what exactly is that? Is that the soul, or what exactly goes out of the body, and how they can able to see us?
No, generally our vital thing goes out. So, and we generally go down when we sleep. We go down to the inconscient. After doing so much of sadhana, conscious sleeping that is called, there will be no doubt in you that where you are going. The question will not arise. As long as you have the questions, you know that you are not in a trance. You are in the inconscient sleep. Okay.
Yeah. So what is Karma Yoga of the Gita, and what Sri Aurobindo told about Karma Yoga?
Karma Yoga, Sri Aurobindo said for the transformation world, and Sri Krishna told the Karma Yoga for liberation. The purpose is different.
So okay, one more. Is it true a progressive integral yogi face any chronic physical problem also? Can he face it? A true progressive integral yogi can face any chronic physical disorder also?
Yes, everything. Because for grace, nothing is impossible. This is the sentence given by the mother. For grace,